Hey Hofstra fans, welcome to the WBB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. My name is Kevin Dexter, joined alongside, as always, by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride women's basketball team, Krista Kilburn-Steveskey. Coach, thanks so much for the time. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Kevin.
And this past week for your team, you opened up out west against Gonzaga and Eastern Washington. You dropped the opening game to Gonzaga, but picked up a victory against Eastern Washington. Before we get into the games, how nice was it to start the season off and get back out on the court?
It was great. We were ready to fight against someone other than ourselves, so it was nice to finally tip that thing up and see where we are and see what we need to improve. So it was good. I was glad to be out there.
Well, the season opener against Gonzaga was a 101-88 loss for your team. You were down by a big margin in the first half and were able to close the gap and stay within that close to 13-point margin throughout the second half. Is that something that you're proud of looking back at, that you were able to stick with Gonzaga?
Well, it was, because if you think about all our teams in the past, we've always had, a lot of pride. I mean, indirectly there, we just have always fought. Anyone in our conference have always talked about our team just always battling and never giving up, and I think it's been indicative of our squad. So there was some timeouts there that our head was down a little bit, that we just had to say, come on, you guys, we know we're better than this. We got ourselves in a hole, and now we've got to deal with it. So very, 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 happy that they just kept battling and didn't give up.
And Gonzaga, of course, was partially the men's team playing after. Of
Right.
course, a big crowd there. How much do you think that's going to prepare the team for later in the season, being able to play your opening game in a crowd like that?
It was awesome, and like I had said to you, also, that they had to actually empty those seats out because they had over, 4,000 or 5,000 season ticket holders for the women's program. So it was nice to go into a venue like that to see a team that was so well supported, and we wish we would have kind of sustained a little bit more of our intensity and shown what we're more about, consistently throughout the game, but. We know what we need to work on at this point, and my team certainly didn't need me to kind of say, hey, here's the old college try. We were pretty upset. We were pretty disappointed that, we didn't maintain that level of consistency, and I think it taught us a lot about ourselves. I mean, how quick the momentum shifts happen off of either some poor shot selection or, some, just some quick, unforced turnovers. I think they were able to see that, and if you're going to be great, like everyone, Candace Bellacchio just has that intensity to want to be great. Candace Bond, I mean, the whole team. But, with Tay being out and everything, it really showed them, like, guys, this is what you have to do to play and to be at that level.
Someone you really highly praised after the Gonzaga game was Andriana Thomas, the freshman, tied for the team lead with 18 points. Get your team back in the game towards the end of the second half. What did you think of her in her first collegiate weekend?
Well, I made that statement that she was so nervous, probably more nervous than any other kid I've ever coached, and for her to just be able to shut that down and to be able to compete at that high level, and that's the type of mentality that she has, and she shares it with many other the players on the team. But it's like, I think she makes everybody better, and the fun part about her is if you ask every player on the team, they'll just tell you, how amazing she is, and it's she does it with no airs and no separation. She doesn't think she's better than anybody else, and she has that sense of toughness that spreads, and she can even do more than I can do leading as the coach. So she makes everybody better on the floor, and that type of mentality, along with Candace Bond, and and Shantae, and the whole crew kind of coming together. She's going to make us better, and I think that's what I was trying to say. And then fighting to the end, like I said, we've always fought to the end, and I think she really tried to separate that at the very end of that game. So I can't say enough. I was happy, for that part, but I know that no one is happy that we didn't come out there with a victory, and everybody went back to work and had a really good practice yesterday.
Well, the loss to Gonzaga on Friday, you had the day off, and then going to Eastern Washington on Sunday. What was the biggest thing that you took from the loss to Gonzaga to implore into the game against Eastern Washington?
I mean, the stat sheet still doesn't show what we need to do. I mean, we still got hurt on the rebounding end, but actually we really made a valiant effort to box out. I mean, I was pleased with Caitlin Loper from one game to the next of just making a conscious effort. Shantae Evans is another one that, they saw on film how well Eastern Washington rebounded and how they move when the flight of the ball. So there was a lot of really key points that we might not come up with some of those 50-50 balls at times, but I definitely saw that different, and the stat sheet didn't show that, but I know what we did there, and I know we got to rebound better on the guard side. So I saw that, and then I think we had that one moment there where we were kind of falling to that unforced turnover, the same issue that if you played a great team like Gonzaga, they would make you pay. And I think I coached the game, whether we're playing a Gonzaga or we're playing Eastern Washington, it doesn't matter. You can't allow those types of things when you're trying to get better. And they didn't have a big turnaround. This team does very well when they see film like in small dosages too, especially like, this is what I'm talking about, this is what you're not doing, it's like bam, and they have a really good transfer of information with that. So that's what we were able to do now that we got back home, and why practice was so good yesterday. But I think in that short turnaround, you know, we did what we needed to do, and then we just punished Eastern Washington on the other end, and I was proud of that. Our transition decisions were better, and we got the ball inside. We didn't shoot as many threes and still scored 90 points. You know, I think a lot of people look at that stat sheet and they're going to see, you know, wow, okay, you put 90 points on the board and you didn't, you know, shoot, you know, 25 threes. So I was really pleased with that.
And the Eastern Washington, of course, you mentioned a 90-69 victory. Anman Yuku, a player
Yeah.
that really kind of stood out. And Jonte Evans, as we spoke about earlier this week, didn't not necessarily struggle, but she didn't have her A-plus Jonte Evans double-double performance. And how nice was it to see Anman Yuku step up and kind of fill that role?
Well, exactly. I mean, Tay's going to get back in her niche. You know, we're subbing a lot. We did a lot of platooning in that game, and you know, so that's kind of going to be different for people getting used to that, because we are really deep. We don't have a drop off from, you know, 1 to 10 at all, and so you know, so that's nice. And to have, for Anma to have that type of game, you know, we wanted that in Gonzaga. She's capable of doing that against Gonzaga. Just had a little bit of stroke of bad luck at times when she kind of was in situations where it might have been runs that you got to stop runs, you know, and that's the mark of a great team, is somebody can come in and raise a level. So been talking about how well she's been making a splash on the page in practice. So for her to get that benefit in that game, I was very, very pleased. I thought Annie Payton gave us great minutes. I thought, you know, as a team, as a whole, you know, we did some good things in the Eastern Washington game, and it kind of helped us get back on track.
And Coach, we know as much as this team's going to play up tempo, defense first is your philosophy. And after allowing 101 points to Gonzaga, were you happier with your team's defensive performance against Eastern Washington?
You know, I was in parts. I mean, there was a time there at the first half when it was 26-24, and they were on pace of scoring 90, and I could hear Jess Minetti screaming in my ear. We had a pretty aggressive timeout there, and you saw some separation. You saw us actually committing to get stops instead of just getting back and playing defense. You know, you got to commit to getting stops, and you saw a change right there at that timeout. So that's a great mark for the team, that, you know, that they just, you know, you can't just, you know, think it's going to happen. And I thought they did that, because it was on pace. I mean, if you know, let someone just kind of do what they want to do. So I was proud of that, and I was proud of, you know, we wanted to keep that thing under about 62, and they scored that quick three under 11 seconds too. But you know, it's going to be like a good benchmark for us, and something that I've been driving home a lot. I mean, it's hard when you change your offense, when you're getting 25 more possessions. You know, there is a little bit of give take, but I mean, keeping people under 65, you know, 60, you know, under 70 points needs to be our benchmark. If, you know, we're getting 25, 30 more possessions. So, you know, it takes a little bit of the stretching of the legs to try to make this work. We're totally at a better place than we were this time last year. You know, I'm happy with the things that they're doing. I'm happy with their shot selections for the most part. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of really good things that are happening out there, and it's going to pay off. It's really going to pay off. And, you know, starting this Friday night, you know, be a good time for it to pay off very soon.
Well, Coach, the 1-1 road trip to open up the season. You're back home now against St. John's, but before we hit the St. John's game, that road trip, how much did it help the team as far as the team bonding experience to open up the season on the road, to have some time together before you?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you know, it's funny, you listen to the comments like on our website, and each one of the kids' roster pictures, you know, every one of the comments just talk about how they enjoy being with their teammates. So probably the most cohesive group I've coached in 20 years, hands down by far. That's going to carry us past a lot of situations that can occur that are even outside of the game of basketball. So very, very pleased with this group in that respect. And then to be able to go and spend time with a player that everybody respects so well, that really generally makes everybody better around her. That's a Caitlin Loper. You know, she just magnifies a room when she comes in, and so everybody had a chance to kind of take a sneak peek into her life and to see her family, and that was a really special. And her grandfather he's a trooper, and he exhibits like a hard-working mentality, and he did a little special presentation at the house, and it was awesome. And I told Caitlin later, I was like, man, that man is driven. She goes, yes, he's self-made, and he knows how to work for the dollar, and he likes to see this hard-working team that, you know, could really make something themselves at a greater level, and he can see that. So it was nice to have somebody outside that group make nice comments about the team. So it was just a great event, down from our bus driver that got invited in all the way down to the players. So I can't say enough about that homecoming for Caitlin Loper.
Well, Coach, a couple of days till your home opener against St. John's, and St. John's came into the season ranked 25th in the country. They did drop their opening game to St. Bonaventure. They do play tonight before they take you on Friday,
Yeah.
but how much stock do you put into them losing their opening game when you're preparing for them on Friday?
You know, it's Friday night game on a local rivalry here between you know, these two teams, and you just can't. I mean, you can't. You just have to prepare for them. You know how capable they are as a team. You know how dangerous they are player for player. They have scorers, they have penetrators, they have depth, and it's just really about us honing in what our game plan is going to be against them and executing and playing our tempo, and that's just something that we just going to keep emphasizing all week here. So we're excited. We know that, again, like I told you from this first show, that we can beat anybody that's on our schedule this year, hands down, but we got to play the game, we got to do these little things, and we just got to keep harping on those things until it comes together. And I've been involved in teams that come together at the right time, and I think along the way here we can get a lot of W's as we're finding ourselves and improving. So excited about this game, and it's going to be a great one here. First Friday night, 7 o'clock game in a long time. So.
Well, Coach, the home opener, of course, reason enough to get excited, but also the local rivalry. Does that play into the team's motivation as well?
Oh, certainly. They've been talking about this game for a long time. A lot of kids, when they were asked that question, like, what's the most important game they look forward to the season, and a lot of folks are talking about our home opener. It has to be our home opener, and it's St. John's. So it's a great night. A couple little buzzes. We're giving away a lot of things. An iPad for the students. So we really need everybody in the student section to come out. We're giving away an iPad for any of the fans that come on a free raffle. So a lot of big items that are going to be given away, and just trying to start our season off with a bang and showing you how great our product is on the floor. I want everybody to see. I'm so proud of my team, and I want everybody to see how good we are.
Well, Coach, what's going to be the key that your team has to execute well to pick up the victory against?
Well, we're going to have to seriously contain their penetration. A team that can rip middle like this, a team that can get to the cup. I mean, that's they're going to try to play to their strengths, and then we need to contain them, and then we need to run our tempo. And I think that's people are going to try to always slow us down all year long. So what do we need to do to keep our pace and and then contain them on the other end? So I think those are the two biggest things. Rebounding goes without a doubt here, but we just need to do those things to win this game.
And Coach, also before we let you go, a new partnership with New York Life announced with the athletic department. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. It's something that it's been a great partnership and relationship with some of the people that New York Life has been sponsoring our program for years, and now to roll out this holiday tournament that we have on December the 21st and the 22nd, and that was kind of the catalyst to get them to sponsor us. But in negotiations with that, they actually are doing 7, 8 of our regular season games, just being just a huge sponsorship for us and a partnership for us for our season this year. So a lot of great things are going to be coming out of that. A lot of giveaways from every games that's going to be happening, whether it's iPads or there's TVs and iPads for the holiday tournament. Tons of T-shirts in every game with New York Life logo on the back of it, and during our Think Pink games, and so there's just going to be a lot of things that people need to pay attention to our website and take a look about the special promotions in each game. But I can't thank Sal Farina, Bianca O'Brien, and a lot of the great people at New York Life for actually making a commitment to women's sports. This was a huge women's initiative, and we were just lucky enough to be part of it, and just hoping that it'll grow and continue, and have a partnership for the next few years, because we have this holiday tournament's been a huge success. So with Auburn, Marist, Central Connecticut, and us this year, we've already got entries for Texas Tech, Cal Berkeley, many schools that want to play in next year's holiday tournament. Everyone wants to come to New York, so why not come to a very well-run and sponsored holiday tournament here at Hofstra University, sponsored by New York Life. So we're hoping that it's going to be a great success.
Coach, you spoke about it a little bit,
Yeah.
but anything else to say to the Hofstra fans to get
No.
people to pack the MAC on Friday?
You know what? We ended our season last year with a lot of fans. We had our luck of the schedule, having teams like Wilmington, ODU, JMU on our schedule, and I saw a noticeable difference in the crowds. So now, the students need to catch the buzz, and we're hoping that we're going to piggyback off of that success that we had, at the end of the season last year, and then just really propel us forward. So just a big game to get everybody out to and get everybody excited about, and they can watch our team play, watch our system, see these kids perform on the floor, and they deserve that. They deserve it. We're top level athletes here that play a high level game of basketball, and I wanted to shine, everybody to see that. And it's fun. It's fun to be around them. It's fun to get to know our players, because on a personal level, they're just remarkable people. From Nicole Capurso to all the way down to Kathy Nolisa, a young lady that is injured right now. And we have just a remarkable group of people on this team, and it's great for the crowd to see that.
All right, well, the home opener for the Hofstra women's basketball team coming up this Friday against St. John's, a 7 o'clock start at the MAC. Coach, thanks so much for the time. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And thank you for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com.